Hey, hello. This is Phyllis, and I'm back. um, I was preparing to play a little bit with some card pairings, Tarot Oracle, and I was like, well, maybe I can do it on the camera and show a little bit of, well, how I do it. Um, when I started to think about it, I think there are two, well, major ways. I think there might be more, but there are two major ways I think I will go about it. Um, Let me first get these two, for example. Yes, in the frame. For me, this one is what I would maybe call a surprise pairing. I already had this deck. I bought this deck because I want it, and they pair amazingly. So let me maybe show you a little bit. So yeah, that meant in that sense, like I said, it's about, well, you already have a deck. I didn't buy this deck for this deck, or vice versa, you know. But this one was a newer addition to my collection, and I was looking at it and thinking, okay, what will I pair with it? Because this one is definitely a little bit more modern than I'm maybe used to. So I didn't really know what to put next to it. And when I was looking, I came by, this is the Illuminated Earth Oracle, and I thought they were looking amazing together. And aesthetic is, of course, one thing. I think we all have that, you know, that we want something that maybe looks pretty together. But the communication is, of course, at least for me, the most important part. I have decks that paired aesthetically beautiful together, but they didn't speak to each other. So this one, at first thought, like I said, at first sight, yeah, they look beautiful. And then I started to look at how they would pair together in their messages. And yeah, again, in my opinion, you know, it's not just aesthetics. They were really talking to each other. And I had this deck already way longer. And even though I had paired it with some, and they looked aesthetically beautiful, and I could still really form a message, it never went as easy as it does now with this one. Which I think, like I said, sometimes they can look beautiful together, but yeah, they don't really talk to each other. Or when they talk to each other, you still need to pull a message out, you know. And I don't need to do that with this. It just speaks. So yeah, and like I said, maybe not the right terminology in that sense, but yeah, like I said, a surprise pairing. I mean, I didn't go about trying to make them work. They just did. And yeah, like you can see, I think they look beautiful together. Again, I have this deck for a long time. I paired it with different ones. But at the end of the day, I never, not only in aesthetics, but also in communication, you know, I never had this one pair with another one as perfectly as it does now with the Black Tarot. So this one made me, of course, really happy. It was definitely a surprise, you know. I was not expecting it. I was just looking for, yeah, what will fit my new Black Tarot, or do I need to go about, well, looking at some oracles to see if maybe there's something out there that I don't have yet and that will work, you know. Not only did it save me money because I already had this one, but yeah, I was just very happy. They look so beautiful together again, in my opinion. But yeah, again, this one made me definitely happy, you know. They're talkative, they look beautiful, and that's what we like, right? This is how we like it. So I will show another surprise pairing in a sec. But because I said, if this is a surprise pairing, yeah, what would be then the opposite, you know? I think even the backs in this one, yeah, they match. For me, one that I actually actively went searching for to get an oracle deck beside it. Let me put this away for I have a little bit more room. Is my Thoth tarot. I mean, it has a lot of colors, of course. I took my smaller version. I tend to do that when I do this pairing. It of course is colorful in a sense that it definitely shows you a lot of color. So yeah, what would you pair with it? And again, of course, this is a personal taste kind of thing, but nothing that was in my collection already was giving me anything. Because for me, the Thoth is all about sacred geometry, the Kabbalah, the tree of life, you know. I think we can get a lot of layers in a Thoth reading. I'm sorry, it's totally out of screen. Yeah. So I went looking for these kind of decks, and this one is the Kabbalah Tree of Life Oracle. I'm sorry. Maybe in coloration, because it has a great border, you know, a gray border. You might think, yeah, no, not great, right? But that never bothered me, because they talk. Because they in that same kind of, well, higher atmosphere, to call it like that. They talk to each other. And even though I thought, okay, well, then I have a great oracle, right? But I was missing something. So I was looking, and they had beautiful colored ones. But I took a very simple one. This is the Sacred Geometry Oracle, I think it's called, yeah. It's the only one that I also will do in reverse, because they have one word upside down, so to speak, and then the other one too, yeah. It has a title, and it gives you then some sacred geometry kind of figures, you know. The book is very extensive with this one, and I will use it. Because, yeah, see this one upside down, because I do shuffle reversals in this one. Because it only has a certain amount of cards, which are not too many, as you can see. So with the reversals, that will give me, yeah, double the cards, right? Because we have now then multiple options. So when I do this, it's a reading I do. Let me show you. It's not, yeah, like we're doing a real reading here, but I will use this one as a focal point. Well, this one is right side up, and it will say then proportion. I will get some information out of the book, you know, to see where that will lead to, or where that will go to, because I like to have a focus. I think tarot cards can go a lot of ways. So having that focus in a pairing, yeah, gives you that jumping off point, in the sense of, well, a Two of Cups, yeah, it's love, but love about what, right? I mean, it could be love just in the romantic sense, but it could also be love in a different sense. So having that jumping off point, I think it's always nice to see where we can go then. Oh, it's a little bit too big, but let me put it like this. I think you will get a general idea, you know. I will pull 4 cards of the Thoth, and then with this one, yeah, I don't know why I shuffle, but I will pull one here, and now I'm putting it a little bit together to fit it on the screen, you know, and one here. And with this one too, you know, I will look in the book, because some are a little bit more that you can directly jump into, like the sign, you know, but then you have the audience. Yeah, how would you read that? The book, for me at least, is very good, you know. It definitely yeah, gives you more than just this one word. So when it comes to pairings, I had the Thoth, and I actually really went out searching for a deck, you know, to pair with this. And it was not just about aesthetics. I mean, white will fit, I think, everywhere. But I could have gone with a sacred geometry, very colorful deck, you know. But it wasn't about that. It was about something that would pair with the energy of the Thoth. It's for me a very serious deck. It has multiple layers. Like I said, I do love the layer of the Tree of Life. This is why I took the Kabbalah cards. When I found them, there was no doubt about it. You know, I went for it. And again, they might aesthetically be not as pleasing as, like I said, a surprise pairing, like the Black Tarot and the Illuminated Earth Oracle. But at the end of the day, it's about, for me at least, you know, getting that right energy in your reading so that it will do something for you. Because don't get me wrong, you heard me gushing about the Black Tarot and the Illuminated Earth Oracle. I love that pairing. It is just a new surprise, you know. I think I figured it out a week or a week and a half ago when I got that deck. But at the end of the day, that's a surprise. And we're very happy, you know, when that works out, that we don't need to go out and spend more money, right? But again, it's about, for me at least, you know, getting that right energy. If I do a reading, especially one that goes in depth, if I just don't pull 3 cards in the morning just to see how my day will be going, you know, and I'm going deeper, then it's about getting that right perspective. If we're talking about personal growth and spirituality, you know, it's just not only, for me at least, about the pretty stuff, yeah? It's about gaining something out of it. So while this card, or well, the deck in itself, because even the backs, you know, there's nothing too woo about it, right? The fronts too, I mean, we can see here some embellishments, but it's very straight to the point. There's nothing too much about it. It's about the insight it gives you. Whether that's in all beautiful colors or with all the designs around it, you know. This one, again, it's about going deeper. And that doesn't always have to look pretty in the sense of cards. Don't get me wrong, of course. I too love a beautiful deck, you know. But at the end of the day, when I lay cards, it's about gaining more insight. And I can do that with a beautiful pairing, but I can also do that with some serious cards and really go deep. Not be distracted by cute bunnies, or, you know what I mean? Like, my next pairing is going to be cute. That too was a surprise pairing. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But I do believe, yeah, that it shouldn't be the only foundation when we pair decks, yeah? But again, that's my opinion. So this one, like I said, I really went out of my way to find cards or decks, you know, that would fit this purpose, that would fit my reading. And I didn't look at aesthetics in this case. It was all about what is it going to bring me? Literally, what it's going to bring to the table, you know? Oh yeah, this one were the backs of the Kabbalah cards. Is this deck bringing something extra in the sense of knowledge, of understanding? So yes, maybe, well, this one I think it will fit, right? It's just white, but yeah, it might not aesthetically be the best combination, but at the end of the day, it brings absolutely amazing readings. And again, my opinion, but yeah, this is for me what it should be about, you know. So yeah, this one was the Thoth with the sacred geometry cards and the Kabbalah cards. Let's do another surprise, and that one were these two. I had the Oehlers and Thorn already for some time. I mean, it's older than this deck, right? And this in itself was a deck that I didn't even have a real great pairing with. But I still like to use it, you know. Let me put this one a little bit to the side. And the Herbal Astrology cards, I think I mentioned in another video, I had the Seed and Sickle. But yeah, that one was not working for me because no keywords. You cannot get anything from the picture, at least again for me, you know. So when the Herbal Astrology came out, it was directly a hit, you know, for me. It was everything that I was looking for. And then when I got it, the colors, the aesthetic, you know, it fitted with my cute bunnies. And foxes and squirrels, you know. And I think you can see, even though, yeah, the color is being taken away a little bit in the video, but they pair beautifully together. But that's just aesthetic. Will they talk with each other is the next question, right? I mean, they might look beautiful, but will they speak? And will they speak in harmony? And they did. They definitely did. So that was very, very good news for me, because when I got the Herbal Astrology, I was first, yeah, just mesmerized by the artwork. And I was planning on just using it as it is, you know. Till, like I said, I came to a calming point. I was getting to know my cards. And then the question came, oh, do I have something maybe that I can pair it with so I can, well, go deeper in my reading? And I paired it, I think it was with the Tarot of Bones. And that worked. Don't get me wrong. It definitely worked. But while the Tarot of Bones were like pictures and... yeah, not in, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it was more like reality. And this one is a drawing or a painting, you know. I was not, well, I was not jumping for joy. They work together, and I will probably still use this one with my Tarot of Bones now and again. But yeah, my favorite pairing became when I thought about the Oehlers and Thorn, because I think they look beautiful together. Not only in aesthetic, in the sense of colors, you know, I think the artwork itself, it really corresponds to each other. Because here we have absolutely no people, you know, only animals. And in this one, we have a little bit of everything, right? We have the plants, sometimes we see an animal, there are people in there, but they correspond, you know, overall. So this one, again, then a surprise pairing, you know. Not only, like I said, in colors, but they talk to each other, which, again, is actually the most important thing, right? So, again, this one was definitely a surprise. I didn't buy them to go together, you know. But they ended up working perfectly together. And I think it will be a pairing I will use often, you know, in the future. Then I will go back to a pairing I actually bought in that sense, because I got... oh, let me put this inside, because I'm always scared that they get dirty, these white cards. Because I bought the Spacious Tarot. I went back and forth about the Spacious Tarot, and I ended up buying it with the extension pack. And I actually like the cards. They don't really fit in any of my categories, you know, so it became an everyday kind of read. So I didn't want to put an oracle next to it that maybe went then deeper in that sense. Yeah, that sounds maybe a little bit weird, but I love pulling these three, you know, in the morning. Yeah, when I have my cup of coffee before I go to work, you know, and to see what's going on that day. They look beautiful, right? But anyway, I came upon an oracle, and the moment I saw it, it was like, ooh, because it ain't really my style. And at the same time, I just know, yeah, it's gonna pair perfectly with the Spacious Tarot. And that is the Sign of the Times. I am thinking about getting one of her tarot decks, because I was a little bit surprised at how much I liked it. Because again, I'm not really that kind of reader in the sense of modern cards. And I was very surprised how much I actually ended up liking this deck. Because here are no people, And here are no people. Here it's all about, well, the surrounding, right? The spaciousness. And this, yeah, she, for example, when you see here the lotus flower, you don't see the traditional beautiful flower. No, it's a post stamp. So it's about that simplicity for me, which the Spacious Tarot also has. So even though I had the Spacious Tarot and I used it for my 3-card reading, 1 second, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I needed to pause because my kitty cat was asking attention. She still does, by the way. So yeah, it's that's perspective. And I think that happens also in a different way maybe, but in the Spacious Tarot. So I wanted to see, and because it was mass market, her tarot is not, but her oracle is. I wanted to see how that would work together. Mimi, I'm so sorry, guys. She is not giving up. She's not giving up. So yeah, I wanted to see. And because it was mass market, I was willing, well, to take a risk, right? I don't always do that. I need to be pretty sure normally before I do a purchase, you know. But yeah, sometimes you need to take the risk, which I did with this one. And I was very happy how that turned out. Because once I bought it, I was a little bit like, oh, but it's so not my style. What if I cannot work with it, you know? And again, now that I have this one, I'm actually reconsidering her tarot because I was so surprised with how much I liked it. Where this is very earthy, you know, in the sense of scenery. Mimi, oh, come on. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, where this is very earthy in the scenery, this is very everyday life. Again, the infinity sign, you know, it's not about a beautiful, not that this isn't, don't get me wrong, but it's not about this beautiful piece of artwork. It's about this everyday drawing that's been made. Mimi, I'm so sorry, guys. she's very vocal, this one. What's up? I'm sorry. I will come with you soon. Yes. I'm so sorry, guys. So yes, like I said, then this one was not a surprise, you know. I had the Spacious, and when I saw this, I had directly that notion that, oh, this would pair actually beautiful, you know, with the Spacious Tarot. But again, like I said, sometimes we pair something together because we think it might work, and then it don't communicate with each other, which is horrible, you know, because then you have something in your mind and you need to give that up, and it's never easy, at least not for me. But I was very lucky. Like I said, not only did they aesthetically fit each other, even the color across the cards, you know. Not only did they really aesthetically fit each other, but they were communicating with each other. So again, you know, a very very sought out pairing in that sense. I really went out of, not even out of my way. I think I went even more out of my way for the Thoth, but I wanted it, or I thought it would look good together, you know. I took the risk and ordered it to see if that would really work and if it would really do what I thought it would do. And yeah, I ended up being correct, which is always nice. So yeah, this became one, yeah, that will not leave my collection. Again, very surprised about this one. I think I surprised myself most here, you know. Because I'm not that modern, kind of aesthetic. It's not something I will jump for. And at the end of the day, this one even made me now consider, you know, getting her tarot. So that was the Spacious Tarot and the Signs of the Time. So let me swap the other way around then again, you know. I really did this one then very consciously, in the sense of buying a deck for another deck to make them match, you know, to pair them. Let me go with a surprise one. The Tarot of the Abyss. Well, I think many will have this problem because it's black and white. Well, black and cream, but let's call it black and white for argument's sake, you know. The art of Anna Tourian is very specific. Yeah, I think in her style, you know, I don't feel like everything will match this deck. So again, because it also didn't really have this category it will fit it in, I was just like, you know what, it will become an everyday read, and I will just do in the morning, you know, this will be one of my decks that I will do my 3-card reading with. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's a little bit blending in my cloth. But I already had another deck, and suddenly it popped in my mind. I remember I was sitting just on my sofa watching a movie, and suddenly it popped in my mind like, oh, I have this deck. I think, yeah, it will go perfectly with the Tarot of the Abyss. And of course, then you need to try that because, well, sometimes you may have a clue, but it don't work, you know? And that one was, oh, this is a big box, the Sacred Earth Oracle. I have mixed feelings about this one because I actually really like the deck. I like the structure of the deck. I like the keywords of the deck. I wish it was a little bit more diverse. These are the backs. I think they're beautiful. But the kind of art style, and you cannot compare it, of course. It's still different. But there is something that makes them work. And what that is exactly, I cannot tell you. I would be lying. I would be sucking it out of my thumb then. I think it is the way certain lines are done. And this is, of course, color. But I think, yeah, aesthetically, even though very different, they fit. At least, again, for me. I think tastes, of course, are very different for everybody. And I thought they were communicating pretty well together. Well, pretty well. They actually communicate with each other, you know. So this one might be questionable. I think everything is questionable, of course. Every taste is different. But I really enjoyed them together. I don't know, like I said, maybe the way certain drawings are done, it just fits for me. And again, they communicate, which of course is most important, right? Again, like I said, I wish this was a little bit more diverse. But yeah, it's one that I'm trying to forgive because it works for me, you know. But again, I think, yeah, I'm sorry. I see on the screen here that it's a little bit flat in the sense of the background. And even though, again, this is color and this is, well, for argument's sake, black and white, the styles definitely are not the same, and yet, again, they have something, for me at least, you know, that works together. So this one, yeah, it was not sought after, you know. I put my mind on the fact that the Tarot of the Abyss would be a deck, yeah, that I would just work with in that sense, just the tarot. I will not pair it with anything then. But again, I already had this one too, so there was no going out of my way, you know, to find me a deck that would work. It just popped in my mind that maybe these two, you know, at least aesthetically, yeah, would work together. And then, of course, step 2, will they talk to each other, which they did. So for me, again, this one definitely a surprise pairing, you know. But I love it. There's no other pairing I have also, in all honesty, for the Tarot of the Abyss. This is the only one I will pull out for it if I pair it, you know. I can still just take Tarot of the Abyss for what it is. And I thought about, there was this animal kind of deck that had the same kind of coloration, but I actually like this pop of color. I like that it breaks up, you know, the yeah, the two other cards in that sense. So yes, this one was the Tarot of the Abyss with, what was the name again? The Sacred Earth Oracle. Let me put these ones away. Because again, so this one was definitely a surprise pairing. And then, because I chose 3 of each, I will do my last one that I actually went out looking, you know, for a pairing. And that will also directly be my last pairing for this video. So my last one that I actually went searching for was for the Serpent Fire Tarot. Because it's so colorful and beautiful. Don't get me wrong, I love all my decks in beauty in that sense. But what do you pair with it? Because maybe if you go too colorful or too busy, it might be overwhelming. I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get too much glare on it. It might get overwhelming, you know. So yeah, what do you put next to it? And I actually scoured Amazon, because this is an indie deck and I already paid enough for this. I was hoping to get something that was mass market, you know, to pair with it. And I found something. Wait, I always mess this name up. The Alchemical Elemental Oracle or something. I will put it in the description just to be sure. These are the backs. Yeah, the only thing, it's super, super glossy. But we need to take it because it is, oh, let me see if I can, it's a little bit, oh, 1 second, sorry. Ooh. Yes, a little bit better. I'm sorry. It were the fairy lights that were reflecting the little circly lights. So yeah, this one is very elemental based. It has all the 4 elements. I think I got 88 cards in this. You can split them up, you know, and get from each element something, because each element I think has about 20 cards. So a good amount, you know. It's very colorful, but it's not overwhelming in my opinion. I think the black small border also helps, you know, to separate them in that way. And yeah, I mix them up and I will see what comes up. Sometimes I separate them and do an elemental reading in that sense. But even though this is very colorful as well, there is more, yeah, how would you say that? It breathes in that sense, you know. It's not overwhelming to me. When I put other colorful decks next to it, to the Serpent Fire, I often felt really overwhelmed. And look at the colors, you know, they match so beautifully. And again, the screen is kind of taking it away. I will try to fix that in editing a little bit. But the colors are just this perfect match. I mean, look at it, you know, everything comes back to each other, which I really, really love. And I mentioned this, I think, in one of my, or I will mention this. I don't know if I already put it out now. YouTube land, it's driving me crazy. But I mentioned this about the metaphysical cannabis deck, that there was some controversy about it. I think there was some controversy about this one too. I don't know, you know. At the end of the day, I bought this deck to pair it, you know, with a specific reason, with my Serpent Fire Tarot. Does it work for me? Yes. If it doesn't work for me, well, it doesn't work for me. But yeah, I can separate creator from deck, you know. At the end of the day, especially when I go out of my way, you know, to search for a deck to pair with one of my tarots or oracles or vice versa, you know. Yeah, that needs to work for me. And again, the coloration, you know. I mean, for me, this one was a perfect match. And I went out looking for it. I had the Serpent Fire. I had no clue what to pair it with. I had nothing in my collection that even, would satisfy me in the slightest. So yeah, that was really a YouTube search. Amazon search. Because I wanted to keep it mass market, because, well, again, Serpent Fire, not a cheap deck, you know. So that, again, was a big search. Yeah, I think 88 cards. It's kind of funny, we just got it. And when I saw this, I knew, at least, again, aesthetically, you know. Aesthetically, I knew that it would fit perfectly. And that, of course, there's always that tiny risk. Will they talk to each other, right? Especially because I could not find anything else. I didn't have a plan B. This was the only one I found that I was satisfied with. Like, okay, I'm willing to pay money for it and get me this for the Serpent Fire, you know. And they ended up working together. Because it's a different system, it took me a second, you know, to, well, decide, do I really go with the book and the explanations, but then I will keep going back to the book, right? Which is not always the end of the world, especially if I do a bigger spread and I go really in depth, you know. But if I do a quicker spread, I will just take that intuitively. I know what the element water means to me. What does the moon in combination with water, and what does this waterfall say to me in, for example, in this card, you know, and how what is in here will extend to the tarot. But again, I do sometimes take the book. The only problem is the book is annoyingly big. It's like, instead of this size and then you flip it like this, it's like such a size and you flip it like this. It's like, it's a different kind of production in the sense of, what's the word? I forgot the word. So yeah, the book, in all honesty, even though it has some insights, again, a little bit annoying because of the size. Also, one thing I don't like about the book, it's the way he writes, because everything is like darling and love, and in that sense, yeah, you don't know who you're talking to, so just talk normal, you know. If we talk with somebody who we don't know, yeah, we're not about that. This is not how we talk to people, right? So at least for me, again, this might be a personal thing, you know. It annoys me a little bit. It annoys me a little bit. But yeah, this one, again, was a pairing that I actually actively went to search for, you know. And that's what I mean when I started a video. I think we all have... of course, there might be even different ways, and if you have, please tell me in the comments, you know. But for me, these two are, yeah, the two biggest topics in that sense. Surprise pairings, I already have those decks, you know, and they just happen to not only look beautiful, but communicate with each other. And I love these pairings, to be honest, because, well, they don't cost me money, right, in that sense. They don't cost me extra money. I don't need to go out and look me up a deck that will work for me. So I love surprise pairings. But as I mentioned also by the pairing of the Thoth, sometimes, yeah, I don't mind going out for a pairing. Because when a deck works for me, whether that's Tarot or Oracle, in this case it was the Thoth Tarot, and I just wanted something that was matching that energy. So it wasn't about aesthetics, you know. It was about something that would help me go deeper even though the Thoth, of course, is already, in my opinion at least, a very deep deck. I wanted something to structure it, to work with it, because the Thoth sometimes can be overwhelming for people. And I sometimes have a reading when I'm not focused enough yet, that I don't even know where to go with. And when I know that I'm not focused enough, and yet I want to take out my Thoth, I will take these out, the Kabbalah cards and sacred geometry, because they will give me a little bit more, you know. Yes, they go deeper, but the explanation with it makes it a little bit easier sometimes, right? Even to read. So yeah, like I said, then for me, it's not all about aesthetics. It's about, you know, how can I get the best reading out of this deck? How can I go deeper with this deck? But yeah, that's what I mean. In that sense, I mean, the Thoth and the other two, aesthetically, they might not be the most beautiful thing. It's really about the knowledge behind it, you know, how you can turn that around and really make it work for you. And like I said, with this one, I also really went out of my way to find a deck. And with this one, aesthetics were the first thing, you know, that got me. I could have gone, because this deck was not, I've even didn't really see it on YouTube nowadays. I think I saw it on one channel, kind of forgot the name, I'm sorry. But at the same time, it was not well known, so that was a risk for me then, right? In that sense, like I said, even though aesthetically they might work great together, in my opinion, in that moment on Amazon, on a screen, you know, I still needed to take that risk then. Like, okay, but will they communicate with each other? If there is no walkthrough on YouTube, and we really need to go with our gut in that sense, right? Yeah, let me flip through this one a little bit, because like I said, I don't really have seen it much. Let me see, yeah. So that was a risk, absolutely. But yeah, sometimes I think it might be worth it, you know, to take that risk. I could have gone maybe with a deck that, yeah, how would you say that? Well, I think, yeah, that there are decks out there that are not my aesthetic at all. And they might have fit, yeah, the Serpent Fire Tarot. Or I could have looked for an indie deck. But again, my mind was made up that I didn't want to spend too much money, you know? And I think I got very lucky with this one, in all honesty. I couldn't believe it when I saw it, that it would fit aesthetically again. This perfect. But yeah, the risk, of course, was this is a system. Yeah, this is not even keywords and do they communicate. This was about keywords. Do they communicate in the system, you know, that's being delivered? And again, I ended up using it in my own way, which is great. I think you should always do that. Do what works for you, you know. But yeah, this one, again, you know, was one that I then actively searched for. This was not a surprise. I needed to spend some extra money, whether that's, yeah, a small amount, a big amount, you know. And it ended up working for me. I think I have many more pairings, you know. Let me see, because I made a list, but then I was like, yeah, I cannot do that, because then we're going to be here like the whole weekend, you know. One of my other favorite, absolutely favorite pairings, and that's really in an ancestor reading, would be pairing the Dust to Onyx Tarot with the Mystery of the Black Madonna. Even though it's a tarot, I use it as an oracle. The Weaver's Oracle, and then sometimes I slip in the Master Krystal cards or something, you know, in there as well. Aesthetically, it's pure joy for me, because, well, they're just beautiful. They all fit together amazingly. But yeah, it's about the depth for me. The Dust to Onyx is a very, very deep deck for me. And so are the Black Madonna and the Weavers, you know. That Master Krystal breaks it up. In a sense, it gives you an easy keyword to go with, you know. But very deep decks. A newer pairing also for me, I had to have the Intuitive Heart Tarot, and I bought the Amazonian Angel Oracle. I think it is a newer deck, if I'm not mistaken. Mass market on on Amazon. And they ended up working beautifully together, which was a surprise because I didn't buy it for the intuitive heart tarot, you know. I just wanted to see it. We had some black angels going on there, so I was interested. Oh, cat, come on. And they ended up actually working beautifully together. So that was definitely a surprise again, you know. The Hoodoo Tarot, I never found a deck that would work for me to pair it with, you know. And then, what was it, a year or something, a little bit longer even, maybe, the Southern Gothic Oracle came out. That was an indie deck, Hoodoo Mass Market, you know. But I didn't mind spending the money on it because there was a certainty almost after I saw a walkthrough of the deck that these two would work perfectly together, and they did. So that is a pairing, even though I didn't maybe actively search for it. When I saw the Southern Gothic Oracle, I just knew that I had to have it to pair it with the Hoodoo Tarot, you know. So in that sense, like I said, we have different kind of ways we go about that, I think. Do I have another one on the top of my head? Well, I think I had the Fallen Angel Oracle, and then we're going to talk about two, well, Oracle kind of decks. I had the Fallen Angel Oracle, and I actually made a deck because I had a prototype already to work with in, well, conjure workings, you know, that were the Seals of Solomon. Because I love to work with the Solomon energy, you know. And I made those prototypes into cards. I think I will show it to you in one of the Oracle collection videos. Very simple, in all honesty, yeah. Just a white background. I put the seal there, the meaning, the name, and so forth, you know. But yeah, that worked. That was not a plan in that sense, you know, but they work very in harmony together. So yes, like I said, there are many more. I mean, I made my own Bob Marley Oracle. I think I showed that, or I'm gonna show that, YouTube land, sorry, in one of my Oracle collection videos. I made this Oracle about Bob Marley with his lyrics. And then I saw the Roots Reggae Tarot. It was a majors only deck. In all honesty, I would have bought it anyway because I'm a reggae lover, you know. I'm pretty sure I would have bought it anyway. But I found that deck after I already made my Bob Marley deck. So, of course, I needed to have it to pair it. So, again, you know, different ways we can go about it. But I do want to say, and of course, everybody is different. But aesthetics is very important. Again, don't get me wrong. I love the aesthetics. I love that these two decks, you know, work perfectly together in aesthetics. But it's about going deeper for yourself, depending, of course, what kind of practice you have. But if it's about self-growth, you know, if it's about even a magical practice, yeah, aesthetics is not everything. Because I've had some decks laying around me, whether they were new or old, you know, and I was not in the mood to stand up because I was just being lazy. And I ended up just taking the decks around me. Aesthetically, they didn't work at all, but I got a beautiful message, you know. So, again, even though aesthetics definitely a major factor, I think it's a little bit like, well, love in that sense, right? You have that first impression, yeah, that will tell you if you're interested or not, right? So that first impression of a few cards when you see them online, you know, will tell you, yeah, if this will work with a deck that you already have, you know? Okay, you cannot really see it like that, sorry. So that first impression will tell you, well, one thing, but then it's about looking deeper, right? And again, sometimes they might not work, something that you already have in your collection, because don't get me wrong, I do that too. you know. I will go in my collection and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that works, and I will take it out anyway, because sometimes we will be surprised, you know. But yes, I'm ranting, right? So these were some of my, like I said, surprise pairings, and at the same time really going out, you know, looking for a deck to pair with a deck that you already have. I will, well, stop ranting. And I will hope to see you soon. I want to thank you again for watching and joining me in this topic. And if you have some beautiful pairings and you want to talk about them, by all means, tag me in your video and I would love to watch it. Hope to see you all soon. Thank you very much again for watching, and have a lovely day. Thank you. Bye-bye.